Okay, so Bismillah Rahman Rahim, but you can see this over here. What we are going to do in today's class, we are going to do about 0620 paper 2, and this is actually a specimen paper. This is a specimen paper of 2023. All right, this is a specimen paper of 2023, and we know that we have to solve this paper in 45 minutes, and we actually have 40 MCQs. We have actually 40 MCQs, and we need to answer all of them in just 45 minutes. And over here, you can see this, the paper is of 40 marks, and the weightage of this paper is actually 30% overall in your result, right? We just need to solve 40 MCQs in 45 minutes, in which you can say that you just need to solve each MCQ almost in 1 minute, right? So we are going to start from here. Okay, but so question number 1, a gaseous substance is slowly cooled and the temperature recorded every second. And you can see this is the new syllabus, cooling curve. Cooling curve is the new syllabus, so this MCQ must be important, right? So the results are shown on the graph. You can see this. Initially, you can see this, there are two state changes. You can see this, there are two state changes. If you talk about heating curve, so first of all, the solid changes to liquid, and then liquid changes to gaseous state. And if you talk about the cooling curve, then gaseous state changes to liquid, and the second state change would be liquid to solid. So they are asking in this MCQ, at which point the substance is cooled. If you talk about cooling curve, so there must be first gaseous particles converted into liquid particles, and over here it must be liquid converted into solid. So they are asking at which point is the substance is solid. So definitely at point D, it is going to change into solid. It is going to change into solid from liquid state. All right, bacho?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay, so over here, this was the first MCQ, and this is the second MCQ of this paper. Just look at over here again. And the question is a gas release at point Q. This is point Q, right? In the apparatus shown, which gas changes the color of the damp universal indicator paper most quickly? Which gas would change the universal indicator paper most quickly? We know that the gas which having lowest or least molecular mass would have you can say that the fastest rate of diffusion, right? So we can see over here that right now this is the lowest molecular mass, but there is no effect of hydrogen on the litmus paper, right? And you can see this carbon dioxide is actually acidic, and it has a 44 MR, and this is chlorine, which is bleaching agent, and ammonia is basic. So you can say that these three gases can change the color of the litmus paper. And you can see this in the question. This is not mentioned that the universal indicator is red or blue. It means both the gases or acidic or basic can change the color, and even chlorine also, you can say that bleach both of the litmus paper as well. So right now, among these three gases, the least molecular mass is 17. It means it has the fastest rate of diffusion. So the right answer of this MCQ would be A. Is that right, every one of you?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, so question number 3. If you talk about MCQ number 3, which statement describes the bonding in sodium chloride? We know that sodium chloride is actually ionic compound because one is metal and one is non-metal. So this is ionic bond in this molecule, or you can say that in this compound. So there must be you can say that ionic bonding and strong electrostatic force of attraction between the opposite ions. So let's see. If you talk about shared pair of electrons, so this is completely wrong, because I have already told you that there would be never sharing of electron in ionic bonding, right? And strong force of attraction between opposite charges. So this is the correct statement. And we can see the third one and fourth one as well. A strong force of attraction between two molecules. No, this is not an intermolecular force. The weak force of attraction between opposite charge ions. This is not a weak force. So this is also wrong. So the right answer for this MCQ is B. All right, bacho?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. Then over here, question number 4 is saying that the lead in a pencil is made up of mixture of graphite and clay. All right. When the percentage of graphite is increased, the pencil moves across the paper more easily. Which statement explains this observation? We all know that graphite can be used as a lubricant, right? Because the molecules in graphite are arranged in layers, so they can slide over each other. Whenever the amount of graphite increases in the lead of the pencil, definitely the lubricancy of that would be increased, so it can work on paper more easily or more smoothly. So what is the reason behind this? The reason is the graphite is a lubricant, right? So you can say that graphite has a high melting point. No. Graphite is a form of carbon. No. Graphite is a lubricant is the right answer. Graphite is a non-metal is not the correct answer. The right answer for this MCQ is C. Is that correct, every one of you?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, then which statement about metals is not correct? Which statement about metals is not correct? They conduct electricity, right? Because delocalized electrons can move through the metal. Okay, so they are saying that they conduct electricity. They conduct electricity because delocalized electrons can move throughout the metal. This is the correct statement. Metals always conduct electricity due to the presence of delocalized electrons, and even graphite conducts electricity due to the presence of delocalized electrons. Then they consist of layers of atoms. They can slide over each other. This is also right. Metals are malleable because their atoms are arranged in layers, so they can slide over each other as well. They have a giant lattice of opposite charge ions. This is wrong. This is for ionic compounds. We know that in metals all the time they are having positive ions and delocalized electrons, not oppositely charged ions. So this is about ionic bond, not for metallic bondings or for metals. They have a giant lattice of positive ions in a sea of delocalized electron. This is right. So the only incorrect statement of this MCQ is C. Is that right, bacho?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay. So we are moving towards question number 6. Aqueous iron 3 sulfate and aqueous sodium hydroxide react to give a precipitate of iron 3 hydroxide, sorry, and a solution of sodium sulfate. What is the balanced symbol equation for this reaction? Okay, so first of all, you need to find out the formula of iron 3 sulfate. Iron is actually 2, or iron is 3 plus over here, and sulfate is always 2 minus. So the formula between these two is always Fe2SO4 thrice. So it means Fe2SO4 thrice. This can be right. This can be right. This can be right. This can be right. All the formulae are correct. Then sodium hydroxide is this. The formula of sodium hydroxide is already right. And Fe3 hydroxide means FeOH thrice. So the formulae of all compounds are absolutely correct, and sodium sulfates are also correct. We need to see the balancing. So yes, balancing and symbols. So you need to see this iron 2. Over here we have 2 irons, so there must be 2 irons as well. So over here you can see this, we have 2 irons. So iron is balanced over here. If you talk about sulfates, SO4 thrice, we have 3 sulfates over here. So here we have 3 sulfates. If you just look at over here, SO4s, so we have 3 SO4s over here. Then sodium is 3 to the 6 and 6 1 6 1 the 6. Sodium are also balanced. Hydroxide 6 1 the 6 hydroxide, and here we have 2 3 the 6 hydroxide as well. So the everything is balanced in part C, and also all the sulfates are soluble except calcium, barium, and lead. So this should be aqueous. Sodium hydroxide is all the hydroxides are soluble except sodium, potassium, and ammonium. So it is also soluble. And we know that all the hydroxides are insoluble except sodium, potassium, and ammonium. So it must be solid. And we also know that it has reddish brown precipitates as well. And all the salts of sodium are soluble in water, so it must be aqueous. So all the state symbols are also correct in part C. So the right answer for this MCQ is C. Is that correct, every one of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then which information is needed to calculate the relative atomic mass of an element? If you want to find out relative atomic mass of any element, so which information is important, right? So let's see the total number of protons and neutrons in the most abundant isotope. If you are using different isotopes, so there must be a, you can say that average isotopic mass, right? We don't need to calculate the total number of protons and neutrons in the most abundant isotope. We need to take the average of both, right? Then the nucleon number and the total number of isotopes. No, if you want to find out the average isotopic mass, so we need to have percentages of both isotopes and the nucleon number of both isotopes. Then the mass number and abundance of each isotope. This is right. We need to have, for suppose if we have chlorine 35 and if we have chlorine 37, so this is 75% exists in this earth, and the abundance of this one is 25. So we required all for this, right? So we need to multiply 35 with 0.75, the percentage of this, and we need to multiply 37 with the percentage of this, 0.25, and the answer would be 35.5. So it means if you want to take average isotopic mass or average relative atomic mass, so you need to have abundance and nucleon number of both the isotopes. So this is the right statement. So it must be the right answer. And the atomic number and abundance, atomic numbers nahi chahiye hota, atomic number nahi, we required a nucleon number, right? Nucleon number, atomic mass,
सर mass number और वो nucleon number में difference क्या होता है?
Beta, they are all our same things. Mass number, nucleon number, atomic mass. These all three words are same, right?
Okay.
All right. So here we have one more question from moles, and we know that in second last workshop we did that. The questions of moles. So let's see the equation for the reaction between sodium carbonate and excess dilute hydrochloric acid is shown. And I think we did this, right? So equation is already given to you. When 26.5 grams sodium carbonate reacts with excess hydrochloric acid, what is the maximum volume of carbon dioxide produced? Okay, so we need to find out the moles of sodium carbonate. So 26.5 grams. We need to divide it by the MR, and the MR of sodium carbonate is 23 into 2 plus carbon 12, oxygen is 16 into 3. So it must be 106. 26.5 divided by 106. What is the answer of this? It must be 0.25 moles. So we have 0.25 moles of sodium carbonate. The number of moles of sodium carbonate is 0.25. And what we need to find out? We need to find out the maximum volume of carbon dioxide. So the relation must be with carbon dioxide. So first of all, we need to find out the moles of carbon dioxide, which are unknown. And over here in equation, you can see this, the relation between these two substances are equal. That means the answer of moles must be same. So the number of moles for carbon dioxide is also 0.25. And if you want to find out the volume in decimeter cube, so it must be 0.25 into 24 will give you the answer, and it must be 6 decimeter cube, the fourth portion of the 24. So it must be 6 decimeter cube. A should be the right answer of this MCQ. Is that right, Bacho?
Right, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's move on towards question number 9, Bacho. Question number 9 is saying a volumetric pipette is used to measure 25 centimeter cube of 2 mole per decimeter cube aqueous sodium hydroxide into the conical flask. So first of all, you need to remember this. This is the volume in centimeter cube. So we must need to divide it by 1000 to convert it into decimeter cube, and this is the concentration, right? So if you want to find out the moles, so you can use the formula concentration into volume, and volume should be in centimeter cube right now over here. So it must divide by 1000. So what are the number of moles we have? 2 into 25 over 1000. So it would be 0.05 moles. Let's see what they are saying next. A burette is filled with dilute sulfuric acid. Okay. The equation for the reaction is shown. Okay. 25 centimeter cube of sodium hydroxide is given over here, and few drops of indicator as well. The reaction required 50 centimeter cube of dilute sulfuric acid to reach the end point. What is the concentration of dilute sulfuric acid? So you can see this. They told us the volume as well of sulfuric acid, volume of sulfuric acid as well we have. So if you want to find out the concentration of sulfuric acid, so we must have moles of sulfuric acid and the volume of sulfuric acid in decimeter cube. Right now we have volume in 50 centimeter cube, so we must need to divide it by 1000 to convert it into decimeter cube. So this is the volume of decimeter cube of sulfuric acid, and we need to find out the number of moles. So we can apply the relation over here. Sodium hydroxide and sulfuric acid. If you talk about the relation, according to equation, 1 mole of sulfuric acid requires 2 moles of sodium hydroxide. And right now you have 0.05 moles of sodium hydroxide. So how much moles of sulfuric acid it requires? So it must be 0.05 over 2, 0.025. So we have moles over here as well. So we need to divide 0.025 over 0.05. Let's see what is the answer of this. It must be A, 0.50 mole per decimeter cube. All right, bacho.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. So over here, the next question is question number 10. And we need to change the color of the highlighter as well. The diagram shows circuit used to electrolyze aqueous copper sulfate. Which arrow indicates the movement of copper ions in the electrolyte and the electrons in the external circuit? We know that electrons always move from negative to positive terminal. So this should be the right movement of electrons, right? It is the right state movement of electrons. So this must be A or C. Any one of the right answer, A or C may be there. And then copper ions are positive ions. So positive ions will always move towards negative electrode. So this is negative is cathode. So it must be 2. So the right answer for this MCQ would be C. Is that right, bacho?
Yes, sir.
Right, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
All right. Then this is again the one of the most new question in our syllabus. The which raw shows the waste product released from the exhaust of a vehicle powered using a hydrogen oxygen fuel cell. Is there any pollutant releasing? Bacho?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No.
It means
Only
It means-
water.
only water is the product, and there is no oxide of nitrogen. There is no carbon dioxide, no pollutant. So the right answer for this MCQ must be D. All right, bacho.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
And then over
Yes.
here we have energy profile diagram, which diagram is correctly labeled reaction pathway diagram for endothermic reaction. So we know that endothermic reactions have the greater energy in product. So it must be A or C. C and D cannot be the right answer. And we know that enthalpy change is the energy change between reactant and product. So this is right and this is wrong. So the right answer would be A. Is that right, bacho?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
waiting for a while for Azan and then we are going to continue. Okay, so here we have question number 13. You can see this. But the question is saying, which change are physical changes? Which changes are physical? Melting ice to form water is absolutely, this is one of the physical change. Burning is always a chemical change. Adding sodium hydroxide to water, this is actually dissolution. This is actually dissolution. So it cannot be a physical change. Boiling of water is one of the physical change. So 1 and 4 are physical changes. All right, bacho?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. So here we
Yes,
have
sir.
question number 14. And you can see this question almost similar to the one which we did in the last workshop. The diagram shows an experiment to measure the rate of a chemical reaction. You can see there's a chemical reaction in this. We have a gas and we are going to collect the gas with respect to time, and we must need to draw the graph of this. Then which change decrease the rate of reaction? Which change will decrease the rate of reaction? Adding water to the flask. Adding water to the flask is going to what? Is going to change, you can say that the concentration. And when the concentration is going to change, then definitely there would be it would take a longer time to complete the reaction, right? And then heating, definitely increasing temperature, increase the rate of reaction. Using more concentration will increase the rate of reaction. Using powder means more smaller particle size, greater surface area would definitely increase the rate of reaction. So the only way to decrease the rate of reaction is to decrease the concentration over here. So if you are adding water, so it is going to be diluted and the rate of reaction is going to be decreases. All right, everyone.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so question number 15 is saying, which law describe the effect of increasing concentration and increasing temperature on the collision between the reacting particles. So, but if you are increasing concentration, definitely the more crowded area over there, then there would be more collision. Increasing the temperature would increase the kinetic energy, and there would be more collision, right? So, more collision per second only. This is right. More collision per second only. That is right. More collision per second and more collision with sufficient energy. No, sufficient energy is only for temperatures, so it must be wrong. Then more collision per second only, or more collision per second and more collision with sufficient energy. Kinetic energy must be increased. So the right answer would be B. All right, bacho?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So we are moving towards the next question, question number 16. Question number 16 is here, and question number 16 is saying methanol is prepared by reversible reaction. Okay, and the reaction is exothermic. If the forward reaction is exo, then the backward reaction must be endo, right? So which condition produce the highest equilibrium yield of methanol? So the forward reaction is exothermic, so definitely temperature would be required is low. Low temperature is required. And if you calculate the number of moles of gases, so 1 plus 2 would be 3. And over here we have 1. So if we increase pressure, definitely it will move towards the less number of moles of gases. So the pressure would be high and the temperature should be low. So the right answer would be C. Correct, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And over here, question number 17 is also very important because it is connected with the oxidation state. This is one of the things which is officially announced in our syllabus, so it must be important for you. When chlorine gas dissolved in water, it reaction occur, and the equation is given to you. Which row of the table identifies the oxidation number of 4-chlorine in the chlorine containing species? All right. So right now it is 0. We know that it is an elemental form. And HCl, if you talk about HCl is equals to 0, H is always plus 1. And Cl should be identified, so it should be is equals to 0, and Cl would be minus 1 in this. So here it would be minus 1. And then HClO is equals to 0. H is always plus 1. Cl should be, right now we need to identify this, and oxygen is always minus 2. Minus 2 will over there would be plus 2, and hydrogen would be minus 1. So it will give you plus 1. So it must be plus 1 over here. So chlorine is 0, hydrochloric acid minus 1, hypochlorous acid is plus 1. So the right answer would be D. All right, everyone.
Yes, sir.
All right. Then here we have 4 different solutions: J, K, L, M, N, tested with the universal indicator, color with universal indicator. J is showing green, it means it is neutral. K is red, it means acidic. L is purple, means strong acid or strong base, sorry. And M is orange, means weak acid, right? So this is neutral. This is strong acidic, and this is strong basic. It is weak acidic. Which solutions are acidic? So it must be K, L, M, right? But K and M. So B would be the right answer. All right.
Yes,
Right,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Then which solution has the lowest pH? Lowest pH must be hydrochloric acid. You don't need to see the concentration for lowest pH. You need to keep remember if the solution, for suppose if you have 1 mole per decimeter cube ethanoic acid, which is a weak acid, and if you have 0.1 mole per decimeter cube hydrochloric acid, which is a strong acid. So bacho, concentration, definitely there is no effect of concentration on pH. pH is actually showing the strength of acid. So if it is in lower concentration, but still it has the lowest pH, and it is over almost 4 pH. So the right answer would be C. Is that right, bacho?
Yes, sir.
All right. So over here, question number 20 is saying magnesium, calcium, strontium, barium, they all are group 2 members. Group 2 elements follow the same trend in reactivity series as group 1. Which statement about group 2 elements are correct? Calcium reacts faster than magnesium. If we talk about group 1, so down the group, reactivity increases. Reactivity increases means when we are going down the group, the elements that are down in the group, they are more reactive. So if you talk about calcium, so calcium is after magnesium, so it must be more reactive. So this is the right statement, right? And then barium reacts less vigorously than magnesium. That is absolutely wrong. When we are going down the group, the reactivity increases, then it means barium is more reactive than magnesium, so it reacts more vigorously. So this must be wrong. Then strontium oxidizes in air more slowly than barium. Or this is absolutely right, because barium is just after about strontium. So definitely barium is going to oxidize more fastly as compared to strontium. So this is the right statement. So the right answer would be C for this MCQ. All right, bacho.
Yes, sir.
Right, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, then chlorine, bromine, iodine are elements in group 7 of the periodic table. Which statement about these elements is correct? The color gets lighter. No. When you are moving down the group, the color becomes darker. The density decreases. No. When we move down the group, state changes, and it changes from gaseous to liquid to solid, means density increases. They all are gases at room temperature. No. Bromine is liquid and iodine is solid. They all are non-metal. This is the right answer. All right, everyone.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, then question number 22. Which raw describe the properties of typical transition metal? We know that they have high melting point. It means part C and D are completely wrong. And then they have variable oxidation state, and they can act as a catalyst. So the right answer for this MCQ would be B. All right, bacho?
Yes.
All right. Then which statement about noble gases is correct? Noble gases are diatomic? No, they are always monatomic. Noble gases are reactive gases? No, they are unreactive. Noble gases have full outer shell electrons. That is right. Noble gases are found in the left-hand side of the periodic table. No, they are on the right-hand side. So these three statements are wrong, and this is absolutely right. And you can see this. They are not saying that they have complete octet. They are saying complete shells, which is a correct statement. If they are saying they have complete shells or they have complete octets, so they must need to write over there they have complete octets except helium, because helium is going to complete its duplet. Yes, they are saying only outer shells. It means this is absolutely correct. All right, everyone.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, then what property of all the metals they conduct electricity? Absolutely right. Alkali metals are soft. They have low melting point, and transition metals having high melting point. Not all the metals are going to react with water. So these three statements are wrong, and the A is right statement, because all the metals having property to conduct electricity. Even mercury is the only liquid non-metal or liquid metal, but still it conducts electricity by the delocalized electrons. All right. Then which statement explain why aluminum is used in the manufacturing of aircraft? Because of its low density. So the right answer for this MCQ would be B. Is that right, bacho?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Then question number 26. The section of the reactivity series shown include the newly discovered metal symbol X. You can see this over here, symbol X is present. The only oxide of X has a formula of XO. Which equation show the reaction which occur? Okay, so you can see this copper is less reactive, so copper cannot displace this metal, and then this metal is more reactive than copper, so it must be having abilities to replace copper. It can be the right answer. And you can see this iron is more reactive than X, so it cannot displace iron from its salt. And also X is in the middle, so it is somewhere the reactions of you can say that iron ke baad you will see that there would be lead, and there is no reaction of lead with the acids. So I think that this should be wrong, right? Because whenever you come near to the hydrogen, that means it is difficult for that element to react. But still, it can be right. It can be right or wrong, because it is not mentioned that this is lead, right? So if you talk about metal, so it would be magnesium, aluminum, zinc, iron, or lead. But still, this is X, and they are saying this is newly discovered element, so it is not mentioned that it is lead or not. So it can be the right answer. It can be right answer, or it can be wrong. But we need to see this between these two, right? So you can see this XO is showing that the charge of X should be 2+, because the charge of oxygen is 2-. And over here you can see this, that X is showing that it has a +1 charge. So it means now it's obvious that the only correct answer we have is D. All right, bacho.
Yes.
So it means it must not be a lead, and it is one of the metals which can react with acids, right? Which can react with dilute acids. Okay, so which metal compound produce a gas that turns lime water milky? Definitely carbonates do this when it is heated with a Bunsen burner. So we know that whenever we heat carbonates, they break down into metal oxides and carbon dioxide, and the carbon dioxide turns lime water milky. So of course, this is one of the compound which contain carbonates. Is that clear, bacho?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Then here we have which statement about extraction of iron in a blast furnace is correct? Calcium oxide reacts with basic impurities. No, not at all. Calcium oxide is a metallic oxide, and it is itself a basic oxide. So definitely basic never reacts with basics. Carbon is burned to provide heat. This is right. We use coke in this process to provide heat in this experiment, and it can be the right answer. Iron 3 oxide is reduced to iron. No, this is iron 3 oxide definitely, and they are going to reduce to iron definitely, but not by carbon dioxide, but by carbon monoxide. So carbon dioxide is not one of the reducing agent over here. This should be carbon monoxide. The raw material are bauxite. No, this is the oxide of you can say that aluminum. So this is wrong. These two are correct. So the only right answer for this is B. All right, everyone.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And here we have an experiment to investigate the effect of painting. Iron is shown, a pure iron and the painted iron. Water is here, air is here. The experiment is left for 7 days. What happened to the water level in test tube X and Y? In test tube X and Y. So definitely if you talk about Y, bacho, so you paint that iron. So it is a layer between iron and the oxygen, or you can say that it has no effect on iron. It prevents iron from rusting. So there should be no change on the oxygen, because oxygen is not going to be utilized in this, because iron is not going to be rusted over here, because it is prevented. And over here definitely you can say that if you talk about the water level, so oxygen is going to be used up. When oxygen used up, so the water level going to be raised up over here. So it must be D. All right, so
Sir, we paint
Yes,
the iron with zinc, right?
what are you saying?
सर जो यहाँ पे लिखा है पेंट मतलब पेंटेड आयरन, तो सर वो मतलब उसको हमने जिंक से पेंट किया ना?
No,
मतलब जो
painted iron का मतलब है we use oil paint or any other color, right? We are painting over here. We are not galvanizing over here. Galvanization means we are having a layer of zinc on iron. This is galvanization. Painting means we are having a color on like iron. Just for suppose if you talk about
Okay,
the painting on your grills, on your windows, and on your doors in your houses, right?
Okay, sir.
To just prevent the oxidation and the rusting of iron objects in our houses, right? Question number 30. Bauxite contain aluminum oxide. Aluminum is extracted from aluminum oxide by electrolysis. Which statement is a reason for why cryolite is added to the electrolytic cell used to extract aluminum? This is one of the answer I told every one of you in the discussion group, that cryolite is used to reduce the melting point and the cost of the process. So cryolite decrease the rate? No. It lowers the melting point, right? It prevents the carbon anodes? No. Remove impurities? No. So the right answer for this MCQ would be B. All right, बच्चों? जी बेटे मतलब।
Yes, sir.
29 वाले में
Yes, sir.
सर 29 वाले में मुझे थोड़ा सा मसला आ रहा था।
Yes.
इसमें राइस सर 29 वाले में हम वो क्यों कर रहे थे ये राइस टेस्ट ट्यूब बैग को क्या होगा सर?
Beta, whenever you are going to use the oxygen from the test tube, there would be a vacuum, or there would be a less pressure in that test tube. So there must be a rise up of, you can say that, water level over there. I try my best to show you an experiment about this. Just wait for a while after the class. I just record an experiment about this and then send you. All right?
Yes, sir. Okay.
Okay. Let's move on towards question number 31. Okay. So over here, which statement is correct? As atmospheric carbon dioxide is not a cause of climate change. No, this is wrong. Atmospheric carbon monoxide is produced by complete combustion. No. Burning natural gases decrease the level of carbon dioxide. No. Decomposing vegetation causes increase in atmospheric methane. This is the source of methane in our atmosphere. So this is the right answer. Right, Bacho?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Yes.
Yes.
Then a plastic combusts to form sulfur dioxide and hydrogen chloride. How could both gases be removed from the air? If you want to remove sulfur dioxide, so you need to do what? You need to do
Desulfurization.
desulfurization, or you need to take any basic oxide to remove that. If you want to remove HCl, so you need to use any basic substance, right? So what is the right answer for this MCQ? Let's see. Pass the gas over solid anhydrous cobalt 2 chloride. This is salt. There's no use of that. Calcium oxide is the right answer because it is basic. Pass the gases through catalytic converter. No. Pass the gases through filter paper. No. So the right answer for this MCQ is B. They both are acidic gases, so we must need to pass through the basic oxide. All right, Bacho.
Yes, sir.
Sir, we can
Yes, sir.
also use carbon, calcium carbonate, right?
Calcium carbonate. You can even use calcium carbonate, but the most important or the most effective is calcium oxide. All right.
Okay, sir.
Sir,
जी बेटे.
कैटालिटिक कन्वर्टर किन गैसेस के लिए यूज होता है?
Catalytic converter is used to remove nitrogen monoxide and carbon monoxide present in our car engines, and also they can remove catalytic converter can remove the unburned hydrocarbons present in our car engines, right?
Okay, sir.
Which equation represent photosynthesis? And photosynthesis is actually the formation of glucose for the you can say that plants. This is a food for plant and the oxygen production. So you can see this in this, the oxygen are going to be used up at reactant site. So they are respiration. So these two are wrong and these two can be right. Right. And we know that for the balanced equation, 6 carbon required 6 carbon dioxide, 12 hydrogen required 6 water molecules, and 6 oxygen would be produced. So the right photosynthesis equation is D. All right, everyone.
Yes, sir.
Then which statement
sir.
defines the structural isomers? We know that they have same molecular formula but different structural formula. So the compounds having the same molecular formula, but different structural formula. So the right answer would be C in this MCQ. All right, Bacho.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Then petroleum is a mixture of different hydrocarbons. Which process is used to separate petroleum into groups of simpler hydrocarbon? It is very simple. Fractional distillation is a process to separate the hydrocarbons of crude oil. All right, Bacho.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Then question number 36. Which equation representing the reaction of methane is correct? Methane can react with halogen, 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 and it must be a substitution reaction. So one hydrogen is going to replace by one chlorine and HCl is also formed. This is completely wrong. This is not an addition reaction because methane always show substitution reaction. This is not correct because 2 hydrogens are replaced by 2 chlorine and there is no HCl to be formed. And this is also wrong. So we know that all the time hydrogen chloride or any hydrogen halide must form along with you can say that halogen, and halogen should be substituted in alkanes. Right. Then 37. This is one of the very important question. This is one of the very good question as well. This is the new part of our syllabus, so we must need to know this, right? So over here, ethanol can be produced by fermentation and catalytic addition of steam. We need to know the difference of these two processes. But so which raw shows the advantage and disadvantage of each process? Fermentation. If you talk about fermentation advantage is this is not one of the advantage that this is a batch process. Batch process means it is a slower one. The slower one is not a profit. This is one of the disadvantage, not advantage. So you can say that renewable source, we can produce different glucose containing compounds and we can then ferment that and produce more alcohol. This is one of the advantage. So you can say that renewable resource is the advantage, and impure ethanol would be formed. This is one of the disadvantage, or you can even say that batch process is also one of the disadvantage, right? But if you talk about the catalytic addition of steam, this is the continuous process. This is the fast process. So you can say that this is the advantage of this process, that this is fast, right? And the problem is this, that the crude oil is finite raw material. We don't even can produce this by ourselves. So this is one of the disadvantage of this. So the right answer for the difference between these two processes is D. All right, bacho.
Yes, sir.
Then over here, question number 38 is saying a part of the structure of polymer is shown, which monomer is used to make this polymer. So bacho, you just need to see this, that wherever the chlorine you have on the carbon, you should have fluorine on the same carbon, right? This is the thing you need to keep remember. And then a carbon along with CH3, it should have a hydrogen as well. Though this is a repeating unit, and this is also one of the repeating units. So we need to just write this repeat unit and then add a double bond in the center. So you can say that a chlorine along with fluorine. No, this is wrong. Chlorine and fluorine, right? CH3 and hydrogen is right. So this should be the right answer. All right, bacho.
Yes, sir.
You can see that these are on the opposite carbons. Then question number 39 is saying 5 steps in acid-base titration are shown. And what they are saying that slowly add acid from a burette into conical flask until the indicator become colorless. Okay, at time of clean. Okay, use a volumetric pipette to add fixed volume of alkali. Read the record of the initial volume. Read and record the final volume of the burette. Okay, so what are the steps that we need to use? First of all, we need to take the volume. We need to take one of the reactant from pipette. So the first thing that is in the titration, the first step of the titration is this. We need to take a volume of any of the reactant from pipette, right? Then we need to add indicator. This is the second step. So you can say that this must be a second step. Then we need to, you can say that initial volume. We need to take the initial volume of the burette. So this should be the third step. And then what we need to do, we need to add the liquid or one of the reactant from burette into the conical flask where they both are going to react it. And we need to solve this with drop wise and slowly until the color change has been seen. So this must be the fourth step, and this must be the last step. Once the color change has been seen, we need to measure the volume used from burette. So the right answer for be 32412, 32411. Sorry, this is 5. Okay, so the right answer for this would be B. Okay, then the last question for this paper is a student does paper chromatography on a mixture of amino acids. The structure is sprayed and dried chromatogram with a locating agent. What is the function of locating agent? Locating agent is one of the reagent which is used to visibilize the colorless spots on the chromatogram. So it to dissolve the amino acid, no, to form colored spots with the amino acids, to preserve the amino acid, to stop the amino acid reacting. So what is the right answer? It is used to visibilize the colorless spots on the chromatogram. So we need to spray the locating agent so it would show the color on colorless spots. So the right answer would be B. Is that clear, every one of you?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Any
Clear.
problem to any one of you?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir.
Finish this paper with explanation in just 45 minutes along with the 5-minute gaps of namaz as well. So bacho, you just need to remember this. Whenever you are solving the papers, you must need to solve first those questions that are perfect for you. And once you have solved that, you must need to color the bubble sheet on the same time. Don't wait for the complete paper and then you need to complete the bubble sheet. Just correct the MCQ, which you have believed that I am completely satisfied that the answer is perfect, that you are sure about that. So must color the bubble sheet on the same time. Don't wait for the end of the paper. All right, every one of you.
Yes,
Sir,
sir.
can we
Yes, sir.
wait at
Yes,
the bubble sheet?
Just wait for a minute. But so if you have any questions, you can ask. I'm just stopping the recording, and whatever the questions you have, you can ask. All right.